Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk on In America Veterans Day and in the Commonwealth Remembrance Day. If there's other countries that use the same day, happy whatever day it is. I guess, happy or celebrate is not really the word that I would use for this kind of day, but recognize or note or honor, I suppose, to all the veterans out there, whatever country you belong to. I will thank you, at least from my standpoint in my country. Thank you for my brothers and sisters for their service. And thank you to the other countries that you guys all represent. You have family and friends and communities and countries that you believe in, even if we have been at odds in the past, which many of us have. Thank you for your service to your people. I think that's kind of important. And I think if we remembered that a little more, there would be a little less of the need to remember. So that's as heavy as I'm going to get. I try not to get into politics, but it is near and dear to my heart, having been in the military for 23 years. So happy Veterans Day, Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, whatever day it happens to be for you. We're going to get an update here on my EU invasion. So I'm going to flop from remembrance and anti-war message, and then we're going to call it an invasion. Oh boy. Just messing about, right? Just messing about. Invasion. We're just going to use that word, invasion. We're going to go with it because I have invaded the EU, not for pillage or plunder or conquering, but to find out what the nuclear experience is in 2020. Probably a bad year to, in hindsight, this was a really bad year to do this in. Maybe it was a really good year. I have become a COVID hermit over on the EU, bringing my Newbury in, and I'm going to go ahead and give you an update on what's going on. We'll take a look at how I've been doing, the tanks I've got, where I am on the lines. I'll give you some hard/bad things and good things about doing what I'm doing with a new account and the way that I am progressing on that account. Things like not firing gold, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to finish a little bit of the garage crawl. We're going to talk about this section over here, and we're going to go through a little bit of the tech tree and the garage thing here. Talk about this stuff, and then we'll move on. And that'll be it. And then it'll be over, and you will have to go about your day and do whatever it is you do when you're not watching my videos, which is probably wasting time. I would watch more videos. That's no. You know what's really scary is, now that we're off on a tangent, how much time I can spend on what is that silly app? Now it's hold on. All right, CRS just happened. CRS. Can't remember stuff. TikTok, that's the stupid app. There's some funny stuff on that. There are some really funny people on that. Got really kind of dark and yucky during the run-up to the vote going on there, to the election. But I like the comedy stuff, and it just cracks me up. All right, so there you go. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but I did. That's what we do. That's how we roll on this channel. So what have I been doing? Let's get to the point here on EU. Looks like I got some referral points for a tank that's gonna. Did it just come back? I don't know. I have no idea why those two just showed up. I wasn't even in a game. It's been minutes since I've been in. I have no idea. How have I been doing? Well, let's take a look at it. Service record, 55%. I will tell you today I am 2-5. And the other day I was 8-15. So in 2 days in a row, last Monday and today, I have been getting my rear handed to me, right and left. I just can't do anything right. So that did take a hit. I was up to about 57, almost 58 at one point. 409 battles, 61% hit rate. That's pretty low. I think that speaks to driving lower tier tanks and running a lot of tanks without equipment, things like that. I expect that should come up. But that surprised me a little bit, actually. That's very low. That's a problem. So if I'm going to want a better victory rate and better average damage and experience, that has got to come up. So yeah, that bears watching a little bit. Again, I played a lot of lower tier tanks. They have bad hit rates, but we'll see. That really should be 70, and 75 is a better goal right there. I've got some of the epic awards, not too many. I have one Radley Walters. I showed you that video. I've got a couple of these Oskins. I've got 4 Top Guns and 13 high calibers and 409 battles. So that's all going okay. Vehicles wise, you can see the Renagati here is the tank that I've played the most. That was from the generous gift from the community. and 47 battles. That's mostly because I use that to grind up credits when I want to buy a new tank. So I'm running 55% win rate in that. Overall, I haven't fired a single round of gold on this account, just to keep that into account there on the account, or keep that in mind. I have to be honest with that. I would have better stats and probably a slightly better win rate if I was firing gold. All right. I know that's going to be controversial for some people, and I'm not saying that whatever your skill rate, if you just start spamming gold, things are going to go better. But the fact of the matter is, it's higher pen, and I've run into situations where I needed it, and it probably cost me getting damage or wins. That's just straight up a fact. All right. So I've decided not to fire it, not because it's kind of an Iron Man thing, but I'm just curious how it goes. How well can I play to about 1,000 battles without gold? I think that's the inflection point where I'll take a look at it and go, all right, what do I want to do vis-a-vis gold? Initially, it was going to be no premium time. It was going to be a free-to-play platform, but I got the gift, and I was actually happy to shift gears a little bit, because I can talk to you a little bit more then about, all right, what if you do buy some premium? What if you get a premium tank? How does that affect you? And I will say that the effect of that is it has increased my grind greatly. Now, I'm good at the game, pretty good at the game. I have a little bit of gold, have some premium time, so the grind's going to go a little bit better for me as far as those things go from the average guy. But if you're running premium time and a premium tank and some of the other benefits and bonuses in there, your grind's going to be much happier. Taking advantage of times 5s, times 3s, times 2s, making sure that you use personal reserves wisely and as much as possible, all that kind of thing is going to help your grind. So 30, 45, 38 battles, I got a 55% there. So let's just talk about these tanks just a little bit. The Renegade is a really good tier 8 premium. I've enjoyed that, and it has not suffered too greatly without firing gold. Sometimes when I'm against some of the 10s, I wish I had it. 30, 45, pretty darn good tech tree tank, actually. Not bad at all. I enjoy it. 55% in that thing. It does suffer when it sees 8s, and it doesn't have gold, so absolutely. Wolverine, I can't figure this thing out. I don't like it. I tell you, I don't like it. My aggressive playstyle does not match up well with it. I don't like sitting in the back, and on EU, because of how fast teams will collapse, sitting in the back is often a recipe for damage farming at best. So, interesting tank. I don't care for it too much. Unfortunately, I'm still playing it because I'm trying to unlock the other tier 6 that it goes to. We'll look at that in just a second. 3001H I liked quite a bit, 59%. I liked that thing before. I like it now. It's a heavy, basically, even though it's classified as a medium. Pretty good tank at tier 5, very solid. Panzer IIIJ was a hoot. This thing is a beast at tier 4, and I used it quite a bit early on grinding different lines, so I had no trouble with the Panzer IIIJ. Chaffee and I did not get along, 42%. That I played a lot of stock on that one, grinding it up. And that's the other thing I've been doing is grinding from stock, so I did that a lot with that tank, but I also just wasn't really able to connect with the Chaffee, even though on my other account, when the old Chaffee I think was tier 6, I really loved it. It's just the gun's not great. I don't know. As a scout, it's hard to like. M5 Stuart, I liked it even less, and it hated me as well. So 40% on 20 battles. That was rough. 3045M, great premium tier 6 medium tank. Absolutely. Only 18 in it. That was also a gift. That is something I will end up relying on a little bit more when I run out of premium time, if I do, all that good stuff. So I've enjoyed the heck out of that tank, and that's a good one for making Soviet crews or Russian crews. M4A1, I like that one good enough. That's the tier 5 Sherman. I just didn't have a lot of battles in it, managed at 50%. T6 medium, same thing. I don't think I liked it quite as much as the Sherman. I'm at the EZ8 now, so I've got that. T6 was okay. 3001P I love. This is a fantastic tier 6 heavy tank. It's fast, decent armor, good gun with the 8.8. It punishes people at 220 alpha at tier 6. Fun tank. I do like this one. HMC did pretty good, 56%. It's kind of a poor man's M44, but the M44 at tier is head and shoulders above the M41 at tier. I enjoy the M44 quite a bit. Ooh, did I say that? Pooey. Artillery. Panzer IV-H, I did not use the derp, and I managed a 60%. The derp, I don't know, just lets me down, although I'm talking out both sides of my mouth because now I'm using the derp on the EZ8. So blah, blah, blah. I just don't feel like it works as well in the Panzer IV-H, although I know a lot of people like it. I'm in the middle of the M44, cranking up to the tier 7. I don't know when I'll buy the tier 7, probably not very soon, because Really, the reason I got to the M44 is the campaigns, and we'll talk about that a little later potentially. The campaigns, especially the Stug, the early ones, are very easily done. Very, very easily done in the M44. You almost can't help but do the missions. I'm telling you, I have a loss that was pretty much a romple stomp. I ended up in the top 7, and there was one other requirement. I think we won because we just stomped all over them. I died. I took a couple shots. I drowned myself because I was trying to get away from a light tank, and unfortunately I went to the wrong place, and I finished one of the missions. I think it was top 7 and win. And it was giant muppetry. I got like 2 hits in and drowned myself like a muppet, and I still you almost can't help but get the mission done. All right, this is the tier 4. This is a TD. I did okay in that. I enjoyed that all right. T1 heavy I'm in the middle of. I like the T1 heavy. The thing about the T1 heavy that's really cool is it's got a really high pen on its gold round, which doesn't help me because I'm not using it. But think about that. Take a look at it. It's ridiculous. T37 I am in the middle of. I enjoy that quite a bit. I did quite well on my other counter in NA in this, and we won't worry about the rest of these. I did play the T28 a little bit because I wanted to get to the KV1 line, which is right here, and we'll get to that in just a second when I show you where I am. So I've just started on the KV1. All right. That's pretty much what I've done on all these things. I've got 3 masteries so far. I showed you some other stuff. Statistics-wise, there's really not a whole lot to tell. Damage ratio is okay at 144. Destruction of 173. Armor, I don't pay too much attention to. It really just depends on how many different kinds of tanks you play. Capture points are 179. Defense are 421. I like that. That means I'm doing something right, because you want to have your defense higher than your capture. If you look at my NA account, I have a lot more capture than defense because it took me a long time to figure this out. So, like I said, I've Ace Mastered 3 out of 23 so far. And the rest of the numbers, yada, yada, yada. All right, let's go back to the garage. So I said we talk about a few things. I will get into my observations in just a second, but let's finish kind of looking around the garage. And we'll jump to the tech tree first, and I'll show you where I am with things. And I just realized that these are on sale. Why are these on sale? Interesting. Is there an why is the artillery on sale, but it doesn't show up past here? I don't know. Must be a low-tier sale or something going on. That's probably what it is. Do we have it on multiple places? Sorta. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea. Something's on sale for some reason. Ooh, we can get the Tiger P for cheap. All right. On the Germans, what I've done is I've come up the 3J, that tank I like, split out into these 2, got both of those, unlocked the 3001. That's where I am. I have a 3601 now as well, working towards a Tiger, and I need to buy the VK 3002, which is also on sale. That's fantastic. I'm saving money. All right, so I need to grind some money out and get those bad boys. That's where I am on the German line. I'm not going to worry about the German lights. I'm not going to worry about the German TDs right now. For the Russians, I jumped in at the T-3045 with the free Tier 6, as you recall from the last video. The reason being that I got a 3485M rental, which then somebody bought for me. Thank you very much. And now I can move through the Russian medium line, which is fantastic. And I decided to come through. I got the T28, played it just enough to unlock the KV1. Now I'm on the KV1, and look at all these great tanks the KV1 will unlock. I can even jump into the TD line over here from the KV2 if I want to go into these German TDs, or at least the 704 and 268 side. That may come at some point, but I will play this enough to unlock all 3 of these, primarily looking to get on the IS-3 object line, because this is one of my favorite ones right there. Although I'll be able at the IS to jump down to the ISM and the 705, which are also good. All of this is goodness right in here. All of this is goodness. Double barrel tanks. I mean, I can just go crazy off of the KV1 right there. On the American line, this is where I have decided to go TDs to do TD missions. On the turreted ones, they're just more flexible, so I'm on the Hellcat. I have it. I just don't have it set up yet. So that's not ready to go. I am currently grinding the T1 to get the M6. That'll get me up to the 110E5. That, of course, the T29 is the prize I'm looking for there. And I am currently on the EZ8 looking for the American medium tanks. And the American light tank line will be the one I'm going to do light tanks. That hooks me up for all of the personal campaigns, except for, if we jump over here, the coalition. So this is the one thing I have no representative for. I believe I have this. I got block. Yeah, I got Germans there. I've got the Russians there, and I've got the U.S. on that. But down here I have nothing. So right now I'm kind of leaning maybe towards the Italian line potentially, or the French line. So if I do the Italian line, of course that's just straight through, pretty easy, but these are all good mediums. I enjoy them quite a bit. Then you get the autoloader action going on. Or potentially the French line, where I might want to dive down into the light tanks, which then opens up the wheeled tanks. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I could terrorize the I could want to terrorize the EU with a little bit of light tank action right there with wheeled tanks. All right, that's where I am right now on that. So M44 working the Wolverine, Hellcat, as I said, and these are all the tanks I talked about. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. No, talked about all of them right there. As far as the garage crawl stuff, I just wanted to mention this, and I don't know if I did in the last video, but this is a great place, and it was a nice addition on a patch or two ago, maybe a couple more than that. I don't remember exactly, but you can click on any tank and you get all your data. You also get the bonuses, and if you hover over it, it will give you the what's giving you the bonus. In the case of this, I have an improved rotation mechanism, which is giving me minus 10% on that, and that's fantastic. You can collapse those if you click on it. Notice they all come down to nothing there, and if I just want to look at firepower, I can open that up. I just want to look at mobility, I can open that up, and it's got a lot of good information. The one thing that's not here on the firepower, unfortunately, is the soft stats, things like dispersion for rotation for your turret, dispersion for rotation for your hull, things like that, the negatives that you take. It will show you some of the bonuses, dispersion during vehicle movement or traverse, but it doesn't really tell you what it does for you here, or what the negatives are, I guess, for the dispersion if you move the hull or the turret for the tank. You got to go somewhere else. Probably one of the best places, I think, is to go to tanks.gg, and you can get that information right there. The reason why that can be a problem, not knowing it, is you can have a tank that has pretty good accuracy overall, pretty good aim time, but then if you look at the soft stats, the negatives it has for firing, moving, turning its hull, turning its turret, yada yada, they can be quite large, and that's going to cause a large bloom while you're doing those things and make overall the gun feel and be more inaccurate unless you wait for everything to zoom in to get the shot, and then that can be an increase in time. So it's an important stat. As you get better at the game, you're going to start to notice those kinds of things, and unfortunately right now there's no real good way to get to it. In fact, I don't even think if you go to the tech tree here you can do that. Just click on one of these randomly, and if we go to this, no, so that doesn't have the information either. Now I just kind of did that very quickly. This is pretty good. It's a little bit of a pain, because what I can do here on Tech Tree is I can click on a tank, and then I can hover over the tank and I can go preview, and I actually get where the positions are for the crew. I get what the modules are right there for standard configuration, a little historical reference. I can look at all this information, but if I have the tank in my garage, I really can't do that. I have to click on the tank, and then I have to go, okay, these are the crew, and there's all that stuff there. So I sort of like the preview option. It's a little more concise, but that's just me personally. All right. I didn't talk about last time, but here's the current missions on the left there, your daily missions. All right. And I really don't know why the daily missions are over here, but none others are. It's a pretty easy way to keep track of what the dailies, but there's a million missions in here. So why the dailies get the top of the order here, I guess, because they're daily or whatever, but that's what this is. It's just daily missions, and says what you have to do to pass the mission. It also says what you get. Looks like I'll get a demount kit, which is nice. Demount kits are nice for the free-to-play or the new player who's trying to get started. All right, so we talk about the stuff down here. These down here are messages from people. If you click on them, they will enlarge. You can click down here, you can type it in, and you can send a message to somebody. To find somebody, you're going to use this button over here, contacts. These are all my friends. They will show up. See, it says friends. If I want to search, I'm going to go yada, yada, yada. All right. It will search your friends first. Notice it says no matches. Let's see if there's somebody named Bill. Well, I don't have a friend named Bill. You would think there would be somebody named Bill or with Bill in their name somewhere on a EU server. Probably is. Try searching outside. That's this button. Bink. And then all the different Bills will show up. All right. So I can close that. That's how you do that. It's a little confusing at first. It was to me. I couldn't figure out why I could never search anybody. I didn't realize that this button down here I don't know why it doesn't search outside or both. I don't know. Why would it not just search everything, put all your friends first, and then down below everything else? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't have that. I don't have the answer to that. All right, we got off on a tangent on friends, but let's just get down these buttons one at a time. All right, this is a filter. Once I said it's sorted thing, and people say, it doesn't sort, it filters. Like, okay, whatever. Sort, filter. It says filter. We'll go with filter. Displayed vehicles, 13 of 13. That's all I've got. And you can filter by type. How many SPGs do I have? That's great. And then I can click on that, and that adds SPGs. And if I don't want the, sorry, it adds TDs. If I don't want SPGs, I have to click again. All right. If I just wanted heavies, I'd only click heavies. And if I wanted heavies and mediums, you get the picture. All right. Unclick it, and it puts everything. Nation is exactly the same. That's all my American tanks. That's my American and Russian tanks. That's my Russian tanks. That's how it works. If you're looking for an American heavy tier 8, you'd go heavy American 8. Oh, it's the Renagati. There it is. That's the one I have. That will stay, obviously, filtered like that once you click away. And if you need to get back to it, click on that icon and undo everything. And now you're seeing everything that's in your garage. If I had more tanks than slots that could be shown, some of this is going to depend on your resolution. It will also depend on the way you've got your carousel set up. I showed that earlier in the options. You can have 1 row or 2 rows. I happen to have 2. You will be able to scroll. And this right here will scroll, or your scroll wheel, if you have one, will scroll through them, but I don't have enough tanks to do that. All right, there's some other buttons down here. This is bonus experience. So anything you haven't times whatever it is for the day. It happens to be times 5. Notice I've played 1 tank so far and done its times 5. That's the M44. So it goes away when I say, hey, which tanks have I not doubled or tripled or quad or whatever? Quintuple now, I suppose, with 5. All right, so that's what that does. This is primary vehicles. I have none. The way you set a primary vehicle is you right-click and you come down here and you go set as primary. And what it does is it kicks it to the front and it has a little line right there. That's if you have a really big garage and you're, say, primarily grinding a couple tanks and you want them at the front of the garage so you can get to them easy. I use it quite a bit on my other account. Obviously, in this case, I don't really need it. So I can uncheck primary label and it pops back over. These will be in order. And is this the right order? Is it German, Russian, American? I think this is the correct order that they will show up down here on the carousel. Don't get mad if I'm wrong, but I think it starts with Germans, yes. Russian, yes. American, yes. I don't have anything else. So that seems to be the right order as it will scroll across or fill in your garage down there. So we've got that going on. We've got here, all right, this is premium vehicles. Pretty self-explanatory. It's your premium vehicles. And you unclick it, and this is your elite vehicles. I don't know why anyone cares. An elite vehicle is something that you have unlocked everything on to include the next tank. So if I go to the tech tree on my T-3485 and I look at it and I go clicky click, I can see that I have no more green headers with experience required. I've unlocked everything on the T-3485 to include the T-43 because you can see now I can buy it. That means it's elite, which allows me to use this little clicky click, accelerate crew training, which I explained last time. Long story short, it puts all of this tank's experience into the crew. If you unclick it, as you play, it will put the experience over here, which you can then, as I've talked about in the past, convert to free experience. But that's already in another video. All right. Why you would want to sort that, I don't know. These are vehicles for earning bonds, which tends to be tier 10s, and I don't have any. So there you go. This is, oh, there you go. This turns it from, I didn't realize that was there. There we go. There's the 1 panel, and now I can scroll. There, see? Perfect. I didn't mean to do that, but I did. And then it goes to two panel. Nice. 2 rows, if you will. So that is the filter mechanism right there. It will also tell you how many tanks you have, which is kind of nice. Well, actually, displayed vehicles, sorry. If everything's unclicked, it is every tank you have in the garage. But if you start clicking things, it'll be less shown. All right. This is the same thing we already did up here. With this, it should only show me the type 5s. There you go. So you don't even have to go here. Why is it in 2 places? I don't know. This is the shortcut. Is it a shortcut? I guess it is. It's 1 less click. Anyway, this is for the primary vehicles. This is, strangely enough, for the elite, and this is, of course, the premium. So all of these are replicated here, and of course there's more filters as well. So it's just extra ways to filter the tanks. Down here is very important. This is how you get your tanks set up. Let me find one that's not, because I think it's the Hellcat. There we go. Hellcat I haven't started on. I don't have a crew. I've already showed you how to do that, but I need to get this thing equipped. So these are the equipment slots. There are 3 at tier 5 and above, I believe. Yes, at tier 5 and above. I want to say tier 4s. Do I have any left? I think tier 4s are 2 slots, or maybe it is 3. Anyway, at tier 3 or 4, somewhere in there, it switches to 3 slots from 2, and from 1 slot at tier 2, something to that effect. All right. Not important. Nobody plays down there anyway. Anyway, on the Hellcat, I have 3 slots. I also, at tier 6, this starts at tier 6, have a, I don't know if it's what it's called, standard equipment, fire category. I have a category slot, all right? And that increases that pieces of equipment's capability. You'll note that at tier 5, I don't have the little symbol. There is no such thing at tier 5 for a equipment bonus slot, or whatever they call it. All right, so you still put the same equipment in there, same kinds of equipment, depending on the class, but it doesn't give you a bonus. So if we look at the Hellcat, I'm getting a bonus in firepower. We'll get that in just a second. I can put 3 things in. I have 3 kinds of ammunition this tank can carry. If I hover over it, I have AP. I have HVAP, which is APCR, armor-piercing composite rigid, and then there's HE. There are different kinds of terms sometimes for different ammo types depending on the country, but just pay attention to what the game calls them. AP, APCR, heat, HEAT, or HE. Is that all? HESH. There's one other. There's actually HESH. And then there are some gold versions of those. There are standard versions. I don't think there's a standard version of a heat round. I could be wrong. I think they're all gold, but there are standard versions of APCR that are not premium / special / gold / term of the month for the better ammo. All right. It was called gold in the past because you bought it with actually gold. You had to purchase it with gold. Most old-time players are going to call it gold. Some people will call it premium, and I think now they call it special, something to that effect. The other thing you've got here are the consumables. You can see you can put in standard, you can put in large. You've got gas in this case, and I think looks like that's all I can put. So everything I can put in that slot on this tank is right here. We're just going to cancel now. To get out of all these things, you have to hit close. Let's just jump in this real quick, because let's say I'm going to put, I need a firepower slot. Look at the little symbols. All right, a gun rammer is a firepower. It's got the firepower symbol, firepower symbol. I go, yep, that works for me. That's going to give me a bonus. And then be careful, because what sometimes I'll do is I go, all right, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. Well, what have I done? I've just changed the same slot the whole time. All right, so I go, I want that, and on this slot I want that, and on this slot I want that. All right, we're not going to do that because putting hardening on a Hellcat would be silly. I suppose you could do it, get a few more hit points and all that good stuff. But that's how you then fill in those slots. Hit close up. There's actually special stuff as well. I don't have any. These are the things for bonds or the bounty equipment that you get, just to make things confusing. The bounty equipment that you can get from things like Battle Pass. All right. There's actually 3 levels of equipment. Makes me want to scream, but there you have it. I'm not going to get into those differences, but just understand that there are 3 different levels. Oh boy, I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. All right. It was trying to get me to use gold. Be careful about stuff like that. Usually there's a screen or a warning that comes up, hey, do you really want to do that? When you start clicking fast, it's really easy to click the wrong thing. All right. Putting in the ammo works like this. Unfortunately, you can't click and hold down. Please you can use the slider, which is clunky, or you can use the plus or minus signs to add or minus. So I can say, you know what, I really don't want that many HE rounds in my Hellcat, and I'll add those rounds to my armor-piercing standard rounds. Or I could add APCR. Notice that you can't actually add anything if you're full. It drives me crazy. One should go down, I don't know, just pick one. Probably the armor-piercing should go down if I just start clicking AP, right? The AP would go up and the armor-piercing goes down, but no, that is not mech'd. And I can do something like that. I've got 5 rounds in there. It'll tell you how much it's going to cost. Here's the total. That's the important thing. Then you click apply, and it will happen. We're not going to do that today. We can cancel, and we can close, and we go out of that. All right. These are directives. This is another bonus, a buff, if you will, to certain things. Depending on what kind of equipment you have, you can use a directive for it. And for crew, as a general rule, I don't think you need any equipment now. So you can add skills to your crew through directives. All right, say you have a brand new crew and they don't have 6th sense and you're tired of getting spotted and killed and not knowing it. Well, you can, for 20,000 credits, add increased focus onto your tank in the directive slot, and you will, for one game, for 20,000 credits, have the skill 6th sense. If you hover over it, it will give you what the bonus is if you have the skill. So say I have a crew with 6th sense, or I have a commander with 6th sense. I look at that and it says 6th sense perk is activated 1 second earlier. You might not think that's a big deal, but that is actually a big deal, because 3 seconds is about long enough for somebody to hear the beep, see where you are, start aiming in, and then as you start trying to get out of the way, the shot's on its way. 2 seconds is much harder to do that on. Still a long time. 2 seconds really is in this game an eternity to be lit. Especially if you're somewhere where people are expecting you to be, which usually you are, because if you're unspotted, people are like, I think that bush is the one place that an unspotted tank would be right now, and there's 5 guns pointed at the bush waiting for you to get spotted. 3 seconds, you can get deleted easily in lighter tanks in 3 seconds. You can get deleted before your 6th sense even goes off. 2 seconds is a little bit better, but still a long time. All right, that was a lot on that. But we're going to cancel changes because I don't want that. I'm not going to do it right now. Okay, that's what all of those things do. You can go to repairs. All this is repairing the tank. I don't know why you would unclick repair automatically unless you were really, really low on credits and struggling for some reason. And even free to play, you should not be there. Maybe it's worth talking a little bit how not to get there. Don't go zinging up the tiers and getting rid of every lower tier tank. If you are truly a free to play player, what you must do is find a couple tier 4 and 5 tanks you like and keep those around. All right, so the Sherman with the derp, I've got him sitting right here. Yep, that is a credit grinder for me once my premium goes out. All right, or if I was just a free to play player, this is fantastic. HE is very cheap. It does damage every time. The old meme, herder, HE does damage. Well, guess what it does? And at tier 5, that's fine. Works like a champ. And this thing will make money. Just be careful that you're using as few consumables as possible, and just go out there and crank money. So if you're free to play, get yourself a couple tier 5s you like. Something like this. The Panzer 4H I mentioned earlier with the derp. Good choice. A KV2 at tier 6 with a derp. Really good choice. Other things with decent pen, the KV1 is a pretty good money maker. All right, at tier 5. Tier 6 gets a little harder for free to play, but still tier 6 is very viable for making money and having stuff that can pen, especially if you're talking derps. Try to avoid tier 7 stuff if you're free to play and you're trying to grind credits, because you may find yourself in trouble. And that's the only way I can figure somebody who's free to play and wasn't really thinking, kept selling all their lower tier stuff and gets several tanks at tier 7 and 8, and all of a sudden they can't afford to repair because they have a couple bad games in a row. Build up. Keep enough credits. All right, if you've got 200, 400, 500,000 credits at any one time, you're probably in the ballpark for being able to play whatever you want whenever you want, okay, at the mid tiers. You will see me go down to 20,000 credits because I know I can play a tank and get 20, 40, whatever that takes to repair it very, very easily. All right, but be careful if you're brand new. You can't get yourself in a square corner and that will suck. I also happen to have the ability to grab, because I have it, the Renagati or the 3045M, they're premium tanks. They're going to automatically make a little bit more credit, and that's going to help me out. I'm also running premium, so that's going to help out. You got to take all these things into account when you're planning out what you're doing. All right. So like I said, that was a long thing on, really every tank you have should be repair automatically. I think they default to that, and the only way to undo that is to click on this and then unclick repair automatically. So if you get yourself in a square corner, you may have to do that. Exterior. All right, I'm back. You didn't know that because the whole video just changed, but I'm in a different shirt now, so it's later. I went into about 15-20 minutes of messing around with the exterior stuff, and I got a little confused as I got in there. It's a little bit wonky. Anyone who's messed around with it too much, the thing I found was it's very strange. I had put a camo from the custom styles, camouflage on a tank, and then I had put over top of it a preset style, which it accepted. And then when I got in there and tried to mess stuff around, it was all goobered up. So I think the upshot of that is when you get into here and you start messing with camos, if you want to, you have to pull everything off. You know what I'm saying? It can get a little goofy sometimes. But let's start with preset styles in here. So you go into exterior, click preset styles, and these are all the preset styles, and 3D styles will be here as well, that will just cover up the whole tank. So if I go, I'm going to use flora. It gives me summer, all the seasons, winter and desert. All right, there's no fall. Okay, I don't know why. It just isn't. So these are 2D styles. There are 3D styles, and you can actually adjust. I didn't know that. What do I do? Well, there you go. I didn't realize you could adjust it to other. I have no idea what's happening here or why I'm able to adjust it. Anyway, there you go. There are so many mysteries in the exterior. I'm just going to show you the basics. If you don't want to do that, because as you can see, this will cost me 1,200 gold, and I don't want to spend my gold. This is my EU account. Just hit cancel, and you'll come back out. All right, and you'll reset the whole thing. So that's the preset styles. They're pretty easy. 3D styles will do the same thing. You'll click on it, and it will put the extra 3D effects on it. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it will be for all the seasons when you do it. However, it's different for custom styles. Custom styles include paints, camo, decals, decals, emblems, inscriptions, and effects. All right, paints. First things first, over on the left, you can filter for different things: base, non-historical, all groups. You can, same thing here, this is the same buttons that you get with the drop down. Don't ask me why they're both, I don't know. Again, I don't know, all right? If I do this, these are the ones I have in my depot. You'll note I don't have any. Let's find something I have something of. Decals, there you go. So it's filtered for just the spiders, and I can go like this, and I can put a spider, and we'll talk about decals in just a minute. So if I just click away from it, we should be done. There we go. And then we have applied, which I'm not really sure, to be honest, what that does. Nothing found. Camouflage, decals. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what that does. No idea. All right, so we go. Let's get rid of that. Paints are all these colors. To include non-historical, there is a switch in the settings where you can see or choose to see or not see non-historical stuff. You're going to have to pay attention. It'll tell you whether it's historical or non-historical. I basically just said, show me everything. I don't really care. If you really don't like purple tanks and things like that, then you can click that you only want to see historical paint jobs, and you just won't see it. I kind of got over that. It irritated me at first when they started putting in pink stuff. They started talking about anime and all these other things. At this point, I don't care. Whatever, color your tank pink. Do your thing. You do you. But the way it works is you click on it and you say, I want that crazy red color, and then I can color my tracks. Although obviously the track itself is black. I can cover my turret, I can cover the gun, and then there's the mantlet. And holy cow, I'm up to 100 gold just to make a red tank for summer, guys. And you'll notice winter is not covered, neither is desert. So if I wanted to do everything, it's going to probably end up costing me. Got to get the mantlet. Yes, so if I do one more season, it'll be 300 gold. And then you should get, I believe, you should get your camouflage for that. I'd have to test that. I'm pretty sure, though, if you paint one thing, let's see if we can get this painted here. There we go. If you paint the hole, then you should get your camouflage. And though I'm not 100% sure, I may have to go away and come back. But anyway, that's how you paint it. I'll come back with whether you get the camo on it. I think you do. I know you get it if you use camouflage. So if you go from paints, you go to camouflage, and you apply transparent this. All you have to do is put it on the hole, and you'd have to do it for each season. And you can see it changes, right? So then we go to desert, and we'll do this thing. That means that on each of these seasons, this tank will get the camo value of the camo in-game. You don't have to do the turret or the gun or the tracks. Each tank is a little bit different, and I don't think... Yeah, so unlike paint, the camo only has 3 positions. The gun, the turret, and the hole. So you don't have to do the mantlet and other things. in there. Now the dog is very irritated. Hold on. Take 4. I'm telling you, the universe does not want this video to happen. I just got done with another 20-minute segment, and for some reason, OBS stopped recording. All right. All of my woes you are not interested in. So there's the camouflage. One thing you can do, I don't know if we already went over it, but if you put like a transparent thing on it, you can go back to your paints and you can put background paint. Turns it green. Let's get something brighter that's easier to see. Purple in the background. Put purple in the kind of highlight stuff purple. So, there's a lot of stuff you can do with the camo for especially the non-historical stuff that's brighter in there. All right. So we'll cancel out of that. That's the camouflage piece. You will know if you've got some in your depot because it'll have the little symbol down here. You can see that obviously these are not in the depot because they're 50 gold. And if you go from the different seasons, you can see you have different options in the camo. Decals are large things you can put. I'm seeing I've got the front spider right there. Let's see if we just put it up top. There we go. There's a great big old decal. You can do a number of things with the decals. You can change the size right there. Okay. You can flip it. Whee! This looks like just little, well, it looks like, yeah, 4 quarters, right? 4 different ways to go. You can move it. Move it means you basically just take it off and you put it somewhere else. All right, and I'm left clicking when I do this. You can apply to all types. So if I click that, then it is on all the seasons, as opposed to just the one I put on it. I can click it. Now it's not on any of them. Go back to the decal, and you can close the menu or remove the decal. If you remove the decal, even though it shows a trash can, it doesn't delete it. It puts it down in your depot. It's not really a great icon for that kind of idea. Made me nervous the first time I hit it. I wasn't really sure what I was doing if I was deleting it. So as you can see, a decal has lots of positions, and depending on where you put them, like, let me see if we can do this with this one. Yeah, not this one. Some of them you can kind of make eyeballs with, and weird things. You can put a decal there, and you got to put a guy there, that kind of stuff. All right, and if you've seen some of the other CCs or people, they've gotten clever with it. Depending on the decal, some of them kind of wrap around interestingly. You can make faces and things like that. There was a great big grinning teeth one. There's so many; they're really hard to find down here sometimes. What you're looking for, I think it's around. There we go. There's the grinning teeth. Now this one's a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and put it here. Unavailable. Okay, so we want to do this, delete that. And then it's gone away because it would recenter. Why wouldn't it? And now we've lost our teeth. There we go. So we take the teeth and we go, big teeth. There you go. So gigantic teeth. we can do smaller teeth, or even small. Either way, they're really pretty big teeth. All right, that's one of my favorite ones right there. Got the big crab dude. You can make a big crab guy. It looks like he can't do anything unless I get rid of stuff. So there we go. And it resets, so I'm not going to show you the crab guy. Anyway, decals. So they're big, and they have a lot of positions, as you can see. Emblems only have 2 positions on either side of the tank. It comes with the national emblem. So if you put something else there, it goes away. No longer have the red star. That's a little bit irritating. I think this was the first thing they really did on there. So you can put these little emblems. There's a lot of them, and they're really hard to see. This is where the national flags live as well, and some other emblems that Wargaming has put out. So if you want to, there's also some heraldic symbols right there. And I'm trying to find, where's the U.S. flag stuff? I don't think I have any. No, I don't, not on this account, but there you go. It's not very big. It doesn't really, you can't make it larger than this. You can apply it to everything, or you can delete it, or you can close the menu. All those are options with the emblems. Inscriptions only have 2 places, and they are on the front like this. So you can put a decal, an inscription, and decals. 3 decals, 2 counting both sides for the emblems, and 2 counting both sides for the inscriptions. The thing on the inscriptions is there are some numbers that are verboten. One of them is you cannot put 666. It doesn't let you. You cannot put 420. It will not let you. I wonder, will it let you put 042 as if you're very clever? Yes, you can very cleverly put 042, but there's a couple numbers that have significance that you're not allowed to do. Interestingly, you can have 69. So I don't know if they're so bothered by 420, why they're not bothered by, the 13-year-olds giggling by putting 69 on their tank. But anyway, whatever. They banned some numbers. Those are the only two I'm aware of. There's probably some others that have weird significance, and I don't even want to get into it. Here's one. Just for giggles, can I put 777? I can put 7. Okay. Okay. All right, there you go. There are also some inscriptions such as this, which means if you hover over it, it will tell you at the top of that it says militant. Okay. And this one means Yesk farmer. Okay, that's interesting. Fighting girlfriend. Oh, that's nice. And fearless. We've also got liberator. All right, so just these are historical, in theory anyway, inscriptions that were on tanks, or things that people might have thought would have been on tanks. I don't know. I don't know where they got all the information. I'm assuming most of this is from historical pictures and things like that. All right. And then if we get to the end of it, I think there's some other inscriptions, or is it just this? No, there's some ones you can win. Bonds of Steel is, I don't remember what the event was that got me that, but I have that inscription. So emblems, decals, inscriptions, those are the things. And then effects, the last thing we'll talk about is you can give your paint a worn appearance, and I'm trying to see if we can even notice a difference. It just kind of lightens it up and makes it look, see how it just sort of makes it a little more worn. I don't know. It's 300 gold. I don't think I've ever put it on a tank, but it's there if you want it. All right. Progressive elements are things that you get for Ace Tanker, for destroying vehicles, and for getting high caliber. For the destroying vehicles, you have to destroy 500 vehicles in this vehicle, and I think actually it's progressive. So it's destroy 30, then destroy another 70, I believe. Then yes, it is, because it says 5 of 70. Then destroy another 150, and then another 250. You have to add all those up together before you get to number 5. The first one's free, folks, and then you pay for the rest of them, which I think is an awful idea, monetizing that. That's, I don't know. I didn't realize there was even some more. There's Stand as One. This is Brothers in Arms, so there are some for platoons. And then Battle Hardened is for fighting a number of battles in the vehicle. And you can put one of those on your vehicle as well, because it is basically a decal, I believe. Considered a decal. Yes, progressive decals. All right. So remember, decals you can have 3 of. So you can actually put, you can have your little tiger guy, and then you can have your spider, which you already have, and then you can put this dude on if you want back there. All right. Whew. Finally got it done. Holy cow. I hope you guys had a good Veterans Day. Hopefully I can do a little bit of streaming today. Yesterday was terrible with my internet. Didn't work very well at all, but we'll see what we can do on Veterans Day. I'd like to get a few hours in with you guys and say hello and all that kind of thing. I hope that helped out with the finishing of the garage crawl and talking about where I am in my EU experience, learning the game again from the beginning, finding out a lot of things that I didn't realize. And actually, before we end, that makes me remember that I wanted to go over a couple things at the end here. So I'm going to throw these out, have a think about them, and we'll talk about them some more as we go. But here are some of the things I started thinking about as I was playing this game from the beginning again on a different account. And some of this is specific to the way that I'm doing it. But things that are bad or hard. No gold ammo used. That's hard. As I get to tier 6 and 7, it becomes more and more apparent to me that not firing any gold is really gimping you. There are a couple super duper unicums who kind of make it their thing to play the game and not fire gold and be extremely good. But that is definitely the exception to the rule. I have had plenty of times where if I'd have been able to dab number 2, I would have come away with a much, much better result. So I'm not saying every game is going to be like that, but if you're in a tier 8 and you're looking at a tier 10 and you get in a bad position, you can't get away from them, and you really need that 2 to do some damage. If you're not carrying any premium gold special ammo / whatever you call it du jour, then you have put yourself in a bad position, in my opinion. Stock grinds are painful. Stock grinds are painful. Some people say that avoid them at all costs. You have to have expectation management and understand that it is what it is, which is that stupid thing we say, but really you just have to accept that there are going to be games where it's just going to suck so bad you're going to want to delete the game. Sorry, Wargaming, but that's how people feel, and they're counting on that because they want you to spend some money to upgrade. They want you to play to upgrade. They want you to spend some money for premium so you can fire out some gold. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Just understand that's there. And if you choose to stock grind, then occasionally it's going to feel like you're stomping on your own feet just for fun. Okay. On EU, the crazy meta at times, I don't want, and I think I've come across a bit that I've been scoffing EU, and I think that there's a good portion of it is that I just haven't learned the meta, or I am not adjusting correctly, because a lot of it is frustration. But I will say it is absolutely a case of it gets really crazy on EU sometimes, more often I would say than on an NA, just because there's a larger sample size of players and what they do can get really crazy. That being said, it's more interesting at times. It can be extremely frustrating, though, if you get 3 or 4 of these teams in a row that just completely go bonkers. And that happens on NA, but I find the streaks to happen more often on EU. Anecdotal, I know, but that's all I'll say about it. Ultimately, it's up to me to adjust and deal with it. All right. I think I have a good idea where the Super Unicum sit back and use your teammates as meat shields idea came from. And I realize not all Super Unicums do it. I try not to do a lot, but I do it on occasion. But the general idea of World of Tanks that, hey, let the Muppets Muppet and then clean up the mess afterwards, this is definitely on EU. And I would imagine RU is even worse because there's even more players. It's very effective. It's very effective provided you can keep the game from getting too far away from you. And that's what the real Super Unicums are doing. They're not hiding in the back camping, but they are a little bit further back, being very careful with their hit points early on, something I never really did and I don't do on NA. So it's a play style I definitely need to work on, absolutely. But there is no doubt in my mind where it came from. It came from larger servers with a more diverse group of players, skill level wise, and more wide open craziness going on. Bad crews are painful. Bad crews are absolutely painful, and one of the things that's kind of crushing my will to live is not having very many crews with 6th Sense. And I now understand, especially a lot of the new players who have just started accounts, wanting every crew member or every crew to have 6th Sense automatically. I still believe you should grind for it, but understand that if you're starting a new account, and I'm 300 games into it, I'm grinding more lines than I recommend people do. But that being said, I've still played quite a few games, and I only have a couple crews with 6th Sense right now. And it is very, very painful to not have it. Never mind the rest of the skills, as far as, the gun handling stuff, the camo for your scouts, the vision stuff for your commander and your radio operator, or commander radio operator if he's the same guy. All of those things are really, really painful, especially when you start getting to tier 6 or 7. Playing tanks with no equipment, also painful. It's just gimping yourself, and you just have to fight through it. This is one of the reasons why I sort of recommend, if you actually are a new player, not diverging out to a lot of lines, because you're going to be able to concentrate your resources and build up 3 pieces of equipment on your tier 5, 6, and 7 tanks. Understand that tier 5, 6, and 7 is where class 2 equipment starts, and those are the kind of the tiers you want to be at if you're a free to play especially, or you're brand new to learn the game. So don't buy too much class 3 garbage, the cheap stuff for the tier, I think you can only put it on tier 2, wherever it starts, 2 to 4, let's call it. Don't buy too much of that equipment unless you really have a tier 3 or 4 you really love. All right, try to get up to tier 5, 6, and 7 where it's the class 2 equipment, a couple 3 lines, get those tanks built up as fast as possible with full equipment, and you're going to find yourself having a little bit better time. But I played quite a few tanks with 1 or 2 pieces or none pieces of equipment, and again, it's just another gimp that you add to yourself if you don't have it. Having little camo, having not very much camo is a bit painful, especially if you're playing TDs, RD, and especially light tanks. That's been painful. So look for ways to get camo on your tanks, at least on the classes that are going to use it, even potentially mediums if you're going to be a little bit more of a hangback kind of guy. Gold spam at low tiers is an absolute disaster. I mean, it is just an epidemic, 100%. And the low tier clubbers are everywhere. And frankly, it is a bit of a shit show. So my experience with the low tier seal clubbing gold spam on EU is wow. I mean, I think it's a thing and a problem on NA. And I say problem. What are you going to do? There's nothing to do about it. Let me just put it this way: new players understand it's there. It's going to happen. There are players who get off on doing 20,000 battles in a tier 5 T67 and spamming APCR at you. It's going to happen. Don't get bent about it. Don't get too worried about it. They're probably not going to do anything but that anyway. There's really no remedy other than just get better at the game and move on. You won't find those guys at the higher tiers, although you're still going to see the gold ammo being used. Wargaming needs to do something about the gold ammo. It's a problem for their balancing and has been for a very long time, but that's well beyond the area of this video, the purview, if you will. So what has made things hard and bad for me? Stock grinds, the crazy meta, not having any gold, running bad crews, not having equipment. Although, to be fair, right now, with the tanks that I have in the garage down there, most of them are now equipped with all 3 equipment, so that's okay. And little camo. The thing about World of Tanks is you take all those things and you put them together, and added together, individually, they're not a big deal. Okay, you got a bad crew. Fine. Okay, you don't use gold ammo. Fine. Okay, you've got a stock tank. Okay, fine. But when you add them all together and you've gimped yourself across the board with all the little bonuses that everybody else has, you're going to find yourself struggling a little bit. And if you don't also understand the game and are just learning, it can be very, very, very frustrating. So stick to 2-3 lines. Get good at the tanks you're playing. Get them equipped. Get your crews going. Get the modules on them. Get yourself some equipment. Make sure you're running consumables, things like that. The only thing I have not had a problem keeping on the tanks is consumables. That's been not a problem for the most part. If you're new, make sure you're running those. I have not run directives. I have not been running any food or anything like that. So those have been the hard things. What's been good? Well, the game is fun. It's always been fun. It's a fantastic game. I'm learning again. I'm learning some things about low levels. I'm learning some things about the new player experience I either had forgotten or are new, because it's something that's relatively new since I started doing it, which was 8-10 years ago. The jet's flying over now. And it's been nice, also good, that I've been fairly chill, not in a hurry. I'm not really trying to get to tier 10. That's easy to say since I have another account that has all tier 10s, all the tier 10s in the game. In fact, I've unlocked every tech tree tank. But for this one, and I recommend this for new players too, don't be in a hurry to get to tier 10. There really is no reason for you to get to tier 10. If you want to do clan wars or you just want to get that cool tank, I got it. That is the ultimate goal of grinding in this game. But as far as getting up there and, hey, I'm going to get a tier 10 and play at tier 10 for the rest of the time, don't be in a hurry doing it. 5, 6, 7, 8, those are great tiers to hang out in. Free to play, 5 or 6 is the way to be right there to get your credits going, things like that. So I will say, unfortunately, though, sometimes the good stuff is overcome by all the little niggling bad things. You know, all those little, just the things that are just pestering you that I've already talked about. So it can be a frustrating game, but expectation management is a big deal. And that's pretty much where I am, guys, on my EU account, trying to figure out what the new player experience is. Let me know down below what you guys think of all that. Whether you agree or disagree, or you've got other observations. That's what this channel is for everybody to kind of talk about what they've seen, help the new players out. I know we've got new players. Hopefully there's a couple nuggets of information in there that everybody can use. And that's my update. I don't know if I showed you, but I am at 423 battles, so I'm nearing 500 battles right there. And I went through the numbers. In fact, I think at the beginning of this video, I actually had a better win rate, and it's been a rough day because I did part of it in the morning, and then I did some streaming with Pilgrim where I lost my arse, and now I lost some percentage on my victory rate right there. When you are, let me just touch on this real quick before we go. When you are new, your win rate's going to seesaw. Why? Because you've got a low sample size of battles, and a couple wins in a row or a couple losses in a row are really going to change your victory rate. Don't worry about that too much. Just keep playing and learning the game. All right, guys, that is all I've got. This is Guido signing out. I think I've already said it at least twice now, but have a good Veterans Day, a good Wednesday, and we'll see you on Thursday. Later.